Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another edition of ROSS Racing, brought to you by the Rockingham Dragway and RockinghamDragway.com. I'm your host, Matt Harrelson, of course, alongside with me for the ride, Russell Parker. So NASCAR had an extra day of work over the weekend at Dover International Speedway after rain postponed the Gander RV 400 to Monday afternoon. Now, the race started with Chase Elliott picking up where he left off from Talladega as he was on the pole. Throughout the day, drivers such as Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, and your man Joey Logano took the lead, but in the end, it was Martin Truex Jr. who came all the way from the back after being hit with a pre-race penalty and won the race, with Alex Bowman getting his second consecutive second-place finish. So Russell Truex now has 2 wins in the season. Is it safe to say that we have the 2018 driver back that we all got accustomed to seeing win every other week?
It's funny that everybody kind of expected Truex to just be winning right out the gate this season. But if you look back on 2018, his first win, it came in Fontana, which was early in the season, but he didn't get a second win until about Pocono, which we haven't gotten to Pocono yet. So to get his first win at Richmond this season and second win here at Dover, right now he's actually trending better than what he did last season. So if anything, Truex is just warming up, and now he's getting settled in with Joe Gibbs Racing. He's coming in now at a new team, but it doesn't seem like him and Cole Pearn, his crew chief, I don't think they've really lost a step, if you will, going into the 19 car.
Why is it that it seems like Truex has just been slower this year, even though he's on pace from last year?
Yeah, I think it's got a lot to do with the transition from his old team, which was with Furniture Row Racing. He's working around with 3 other drivers now in Charlotte, where they were out in Denver. So now he's actually trying to accustom to the new team meetings and new routines with that. Now comes race day, he does solid. Maybe he's just trying to work out how the crews work together, because he's got a different crew, pit crew. Teams that the guys at the shop are different than what they were back at Denver. So a lot of that stuff is going to play a big factor, I think, in how a team goes. But right now, I think he's okay. I think him and that 19 team is going to continue on a good trend.
All right, well, speaking of Joe Gibbs, while one Joe Gibbs driver celebrated a victory, another is upset with the rules package at Dover. In an interview, Kyle Busch fumed about how the race went for him and his 18 team, despite finishing in the top 10, Sour Grapes. Busch said it sucks. It's terrible. He even said in a few words that we can't repeat. Bob Levine of Levine Family Racing, a team owner, also spoke out against the rules on Twitter. His car finished 20th. Russell, does Busch and Levine have a reasonable argument against the rules package?
Interestingly enough, before the race, they brought back single car qualifying for this setup for this race. And, a lot of drivers are complaining about how fast their cars are going. That's 2 weeks in a row that's happening.
Yeah.
So, drivers, I think overall they're all kind of a little concerned with how the rules package is right now. But, Kevin Harvick has even said a few things himself. It's just that Busch and Bob Levine, they're both kind of come out and been more outspoken than other drivers have. But I think Chase Elliott put it the best way. He said everyone's paid to go fast, and you should be going fast. So I don't see the problem here.
That's the whole point of NASCAR, isn't it? To be the quickest around the track.
And and of course, Kyle Busch, he finished in the top 10. And for Matt DiBenedetto, who was driving in the 95 car for Levine Family Racing, he came out 20th. I can't see how that's a bad day for them, considering they're a single car, underfunded team. And as you look at Kyle Busch, he's been running solid all season. For him to say a top 10 is not worth it. For him to come out and argue about that, I think he's gotten too used to winning is what it comes down to.
Well, and isn't that one of the things that people love to hate him for?
Yeah, he does. He's very outspoken and very opinionated.
All right, and so for the past 2 weeks, we've heard drivers complain about being too fast, which is an odd phrase to hear in a sport where you want to be the fastest. What do you think? Why do you think this is an issue?
Well, I think when it comes to Talladega, safety is the main concern there. Too fast, you're going to hit a wall really hard, and you can have some really bad mistakes happen with something like that. At Dover, where it's a short track, it's a mile long in length, they've had some really violent crashes there before. But most of the time, you don't really see a car that's going to go straight. I know anything can happen, but you don't usually see a wreck where someone's going to get hurt so bad that they have to go to the hospital. I don't think we've ever had a fatal crash at Dover either. So I just don't see where hitting the wall, which is still slower at Dover than it would be at Talladega, even under the previous package. I mean, it's not a big difference in the speeds, but a lot of drivers complaining about how much they're not able to brake at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm just gonna go back to what Chase Elliott said. You're paid to go fast, so you should go fast.
Exactly. All right, speaking of going fast, let's hit our drivers in the groove. Who you got in the groove this week at Dover, Russell?
I got Kyle Larson, which he started third, finished third, his first top 5 of 2019. And he's also his third top 10 of the season. He's been very aggressive, and I would even call it greedy just a little bit. He runs very well throughout the race, but he wants more. He's always pushing harder and harder, and I think that got him too greedy to where he'll scrape the wall. He'll get into contact with some other driver because he's racing so hard. I think there's a point between racing hard and racing to the point where you're racing to wreck your car.
Reckless.
And, reckless driving is probably the best way to put that. So I think Larson's kind of pumped the brakes a little bit, and he's starting to understand now that settle what you can. Top 5 is a great day. I think you would have a third place finish than a 24th finish. I mean, certainly you want that.
Yeah, you definitely want to finish higher than to wreck out every week and like you said, finish in the 20s.
Exactly.
So, all right, who else is in the groove?
We got Michael Annett from the Xfinity Series. He started 15th, finished 10th. He's driving for Junior Motorsports. Great day for him and all of Junior Motorsports that weekend as well. And for the Truck Series, Ben Rose, he started 11th, finished 6th. He's kind of been in the play a little bit here and there, but he was actually kind of out of the top 10. I think he was like the worst one to start. So I think everybody in the top 10 was running pretty solid.
Yeah, Ben Rhodes, a name I feel like we've heard before because Ben Rhodes is a great name for anybody that races. All right, so Dover is now in the rearview mirror. Now we set our sights for Kansas tonight. But before we get into that, let's talk about this new paint scheme. Got to talk about this. The Kevin Harvick is set up for the All-Star race. Busch Beer announced back before the final race of the season in 2018 that if Harvick did not win the race, they would race a millennial car. And, of course, Harvick did not win the race, but Busch kept up their end of the bet and unveiled the car earlier this week. And as we put the graphic up on the screen now of the car, Russell, what is your first thought of this ride?
I mean, the first thing that stands out to me is that Busch AF on the hood.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, Kevin Harvick said himself, like, he wondered how that even got past the legalities. Yes. And I'm sure everybody knows what AF stands for. I'm not going to repeat that here. And, of course, turn left and skirt on the skirt of the side of the car there. There's just so much about this. I mean, so many different memes on here. Like, I really like the fact there's a trophy on it that says, "Congrats, you tried," like a participation trophy because you didn't win the championship in 2018. It's kind of a little play off of that, and of course the Snapchat filter there on the Busch can. I think it's a really great marketing idea for Busch for sure.
There's a lot going on here. I do like the dog Snapchat cam or filter there on the can. Turned left. I didn't catch that one until you just mentioned it. And I love skirt. That's one of the things I used in one of our parade patrol coverages for GMS. And then, of course, what does that say? Hashtag squad goals?
Yes, it does. Yeah, and
I like that, too.
You got the Busch cans. I think you got different like a family of Busch cans on here, so there's like a squad of cans.
Busch is Bay. And then I'm going to take a guess that down there in the left corner, that's supposed to be Kermit, right?
Yeah, that will be Kermit
sipping
a tea. Minding my own business.
Do you expect to see more of this as they try to reach a younger generation?
I would like to see some more fun ideas with the paint schemes for sure. One of my favorite things, and the primary sponsor has control over what the paint scheme looks like for the race for the most part. I would like to see them get more creative with them rather than just being the bland, okay, here's our logo on the hood and on our side, we're done. Throw a few colors up on there. I think they should be a little more energetic with how they do them, make them pop out. I think one of the things that I like about Joey Logano's car is that it's a really bright yellow car and it's easy to spot.
Right.
Kids see that, they're going to think that's the easiest car to see. They're going to look at it. So I think you're going to get a lot of heads turn on Kevin Harvick here. I know I don't know if he's a big fan of driving this car or not, but I think it's definitely going to get turned some heads to him, and I think you're going to see a lot of positive feedback on it.
Yes, you get some heads turned left, and apparently Busch is Bay.
Yeah.
So, at Kansas Speedway this week, Goodyear on there as well, announced that they'll be using the same tire as they have at Dover, Las Vegas, and Texas. Goodyear said that because of Kansas's racing service is beginning to show in age, tire wear should be good, making 4 tire pit stops the norm nearly every time a car makes a stop. So, Russell, do you think that the tires have been holding up too well this season?
I think they have. There's the only cautions we really had this season. There's been a few single cars spin outs. A couple of course, you get the big ones at Talladega, Daytona, and then you get the stage endings. Those are usually the ones you're only going to see during the races this season. And I know a lot of people like watching NASCAR because there's wrecks, there's going to be cautions, that's going to create drama and stuff like that. So that's kind of something I think NASCAR is kind of missing. If you have more tire wear, you're going to see drivers take more risks out there, and a tire could wear down and cause them to spin out. You get that drama back. I think Goodyear's being too nice with their tires right now. I think they're making them a little too easy. We're trying to get back to that day when nobody really had to change your tires maybe once out an entire 500-mile race, and you only just came in and get gas. It was really boring to watch that on pit road. But now you're kind of getting, I don't say boring on the track itself, but there's not enough excitement to really, there's hard racing side by side like everybody's been wanting, but I think there's still that fan base that are a majority of them who do want to see more of the drama that comes with wrecks and spin outs.
All right. Well, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series hits the track tonight at Kansas Speedway. The green flag drops at 7:30 on FS1 and MRN. Russell, what is in store for this race?
So this track here at Kansas, it's actually fairly new to NASCAR. It was opened up and had its first race in 2001. So it's a mile and a half track, but it's actually kind of one of the fun mile and a half. You get a lot of negative feedback on a mile and a half, especially in this day and age of NASCAR. But Kansas is one of those kind of exceptions. I'm not sure what it is about it. It's a bit more flatter than like Charlotte and Texas and Atlanta. It's more flatter, so you can have cars kind of spread out a little bit more on it. I think overall it's a really fun track itself. And Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, they got the most wins at only 3 out there. Of course, Gordon's retired, so Johnson and Harvick are probably going to be your 2 biggest ones to watch out for. However, Johnson hasn't won very recently, so maybe like once in the last 10 years, if you will. So I would say keep your eye on Harvick. And, there's a couple other guys like Joey Logano. Martin Truex Jr. had a win here last year, I believe. There's a lot of big drivers out there. Of course, the usual suspects.
Yeah, Harvick could be motivated by that new scheme. So, all right, let's move forward to our newest segment, The Rock Block. Of course, brought to you by the Rockingham Speedway and Rockingham Speedway, or Dragway, rather, .com. And I'm getting them mixed up because Epicenter is this weekend, which is encompassing everything out there. That is the biggest news going on right now, especially here in Richmond County. Epicenter bands for Saturday: Tool, Judas Priest, The Cult. And then on Sunday, my favorite band out of this group, the Foo Fighters, Bring Me the Horizon, and another one of my favorites, 311. Tickets are still available. You can still head out there. You get them at epiccenterfestival.com. And 100,000 people coming in, $40 million supposed to come along with it. What do you think?
It's really incredible. I mean, we've been there a few times. I've been there almost every day this week just looking at the progress that the track officials, and not track officials, but the festival officials. I think over 300 workers have been out there setting up for the past 2 weeks. You see a new stage go up almost every day the past week here. It's been a lot of excitement going around. You just kind of feel the atmosphere around Richmond County about what's going on. The traffic has been a little bit of a congestion, but it's not been as bad as most people thought it would be.
Yeah.
They've been handling it very well out there. The Highway Patrol has been doing a pretty good job of maintaining an open lane, and they took the cones off the side of the road to allow traffic to use that right lane so they can go into the camping grounds. Kelsey Rushing, our weather reporter from Lot 5, she's been out there all day yesterday. And I know Will Toller's been out there all day as well, our managing editor. So they've been really busy out there and having a lot of fun. I would love to be out there myself. But I think I've seen some videos of it as well, and it's been really, really cool to see all the stuff that's going on.
There are definitely a lot of people from this area that are there, and people from around the country. I mean, this has made Rockingham a destination again, and I know the people around here are very excited. One of the things I'm most excited about is they built a Ferris wheel out there. I think that's very cool. I'd like to go out there and just try that out, if for no other reason, just to do that.
It's pretty close proximity to one of the big stages out there. So you could be up top looking down onto the musicians out there on the stage, watch people crowd surf. Not people crowd surfing, but people are doing it anyway.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
There's a lot of cool stuff going on out there.
Yes, there are. And again, I hope that this is supposed to be set up for the next decade. Financially, you're talking upwards of $400 million over the next 10 years coming into Richmond County. What else can you ask for?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And my personal favorite about the whole thing, I know the Dragway's kind of been the host of it for the most part, but just the Rockingham Speedway, they put a banner down off the side of the press box. To me, that just made me just smile, and it's just awesome to see activity at the Speedway. It's been since 2013 we've had no activity out there.
And you mentioned 350 people working to set it up. There's another 2,000 people that are actually working the Epicenter Festival itself this weekend. So a lot of employees, a lot of people to get together and coordinate. It's a big deal. So, And then, of course, do want to mention this time next week, Rugged Maniac coming into the Dragway. So as soon as everybody leaves here, they got to turn around and put it all back together for Rugged Maniac.
Ooh, that's going to be a job there.
Yes, they are always staying busy out at the Rockingham Dragway. And, of course, that is the Rock Block brought to you by the Dragway and RockinghamDragway.com. All right, before we end the show, heading to Kansas, who you got?
Well, like I said, Kevin Harvick, in the last 10 races, Harvick got on a Truex tie for the most wins at 2. Harvick and Busch have 6 top 5s. Busch got 8 top 10s. But Harvick continues to have the best stats, so I think you can't go against him this week. I know he's not driving that pink car this week, but he's definitely got the momentum in his favor for this race for sure. So I'm going to pick Harvick to win it.
All right. I think it's the paint scheme. It's got to be. If nothing else, that's what I'm going with. Skirt, skirt. All right. That is going to do it for this edition of ROSS Racing. Of course, we appreciate everybody tuning into this and every Ross show that we have. That is Russell Parker. I am Matt Harrelson. All of this brought to you by the Rockingham Dragway at RockinghamDragway.com. We'll see you right back here next week on the track for more ROSS Racing.